Hello YouTube, O'Brien Magic here. Got some really exciting news for everyone in case you haven't heard. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has just released some new Toon support cards, a couple of monsters, as well as some spells and traps. In the newest set, Dragons of Legend 2. Some awesome stuff here. In this video, I'd like to just talk a little bit about some of the pros and some of the cons of the new cards, as well as a couple of ideas that I have for them as far as usability and how I would incorporate them into my deck. As always, please, before we get started, do me a favor, go ahead, like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to leave some comments below with your thoughts, as well as perhaps how you might use some of these new cards. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see on the screen here, we have a few new cards. We're going to probably go through them in order. I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of each card as I go. And like I said, maybe give a little bit of insight on how I would use them myself. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the staple card, the most important card that has just come out, Toon Kingdom. Now this is the card that Toon World was supposed to be when it was released. Let's go ahead and read the text here. It says, when this card is activated, banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down. This card's name becomes Toon World while in the field zone. Your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects. If a Toon monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monster or monsters instead. Wow, so a lot of awesome stuff here. First, let's go ahead and talk about some of the pros. So the cost is relatively low. You're going to banish 3 cards off the top of your deck face down. You don't have to pay any life points or anything like that, which is really important because you're going to probably be taking a lot of life point damage because you're going to be taking battle damage from your Toon monsters that are destroyed, especially your lower attack monsters like your Toon Masked Sorcerer, for example. It is a field spell, which is pretty awesome. It's going to sit in your field spell zone, so it's not going to sit in your spell and trap zone, clogging up your back row, so you have more room for your spells and traps. It protects your Toon monsters from being destroyed. This is extremely important, especially since Toon monsters, as you all know, have summoning sickness, meaning when you summon them, they will not be able to attack the turn that they come out. This will help you to protect those Toon monsters for at least a turn, so they can get their attacks out on the next turn, as well as protects them not only from battle damage, but also protects them from card effects. So if your opponent tries to Raigeki you or anything like that, all you have to do is just banish a card off the top of your deck and your monsters are protected. Also, your Toons cannot be targeted by effects. Again, another awesome thing about this card. Your opponent's not going to be able to target your Toon monsters. They're not going to be able to destroy your Toon monsters. Really, the only thing they're going to be able to do is bounce them back to your hand or possibly banish them as long as the card doesn't destroy. That's going to be really the only way to get your Toons off of the field. Toon Kingdom is easily searchable. You can use cards such as Toon Table of Contents. Also, you can use Terraforming. In my build that I'm experimenting with right now, I'm going to be using 3 Terraformings as well as 3 Toon Table of Contents, making it pretty much a guaranteed first turn that I'm going to get Toon Kingdom in my hand, which is a necessity for the type of deck that I'm going to be using. The card is also easily protected. What do I mean by that? You have cards such as Field Barrier, for example. It's not only going to protect your Toon Kingdom from being destroyed, but it's also going to prevent your opponent from playing another field spell. There's also some back row cards that you can use to protect your Toon Kingdom. For example, Cursed Seal, a forbidden spell. It's going to get rid of those pesky cards such as Mystical Space Typhoon, which is obviously a big problem for the Toon deck. But this card's got a lot of protection for it. It's easily searchable. It's going to protect your Toon monsters, and its cost, again, is relatively low. So overall, I'd say the pros are making this card pretty worth it for your deck. So now let's talk about the cons. Not too many bad things about this card. Number 1, it banishes your cards. And not only does it banish your cards, but it banishes them face down, meaning you don't get to see the cards that are being banished, which isn't exactly the best thing because you could be banishing cards that you might need in your deck. But like I said, the cost is relatively low to play this card, so banishing your cards isn't necessarily the end of the world. However, an issue that I've noticed is, especially in the longer games, I've actually lost a couple times because I decked out and I couldn't draw cards anymore because, you know, you're banishing cards left and right using this card, especially if your Toon Kingdom gets destroyed and you have to play another one. So I would say use its effect conservatively, but it's also a really good effect that protects your monsters. So not a whole lot of negative things to say there. The other thing that's very interesting is if it's negated, it does not count as Toon World anymore. So if your opponent plays a card that allows Toon Kingdom to stay on the field but negates its effect, then you are not going to reap any more of the benefits of Toon Kingdom, and your Toon monsters are no longer going to be able to attack directly because technically Toon World is no longer on the field. So it's a little bit of give and take. A good thing that I can say about the fact that the name is Toon Kingdom, the name is Toon World while on the field, is that you can technically run 3 copies of Toon Kingdom, as well as, if you wanted to, you can run another copy or 2 of Toon World, depending on the type of build that you're making, so that if you need a guaranteed Toon World in your hand, you can actually have up to 6 copies of Toon World in your deck, technically. So that's not too bad. But, like I said, if the card's negated, it no longer counts as Toon World, which means your Toon monsters are not going to be able to get their bonuses from the Toon Kingdom. As well as Toon Kingdom banishes a lot of your cards, so just be careful with that. Other than that, overall, Toon Kingdom is an amazing card, and it is definitely the card that Toon World was meant to be. So thank you for releasing that card. Alright, the next card that we're going to look at is Toon Rollback. This is a nice little card as well. It says, target one Toon monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. It's a pretty good card. It combos very nicely with your Toon Gemini Elf or your Toon Masked Sorcerer. So you can either discard 2 cards from your opponent's hand if you're looking for hand control, or you can draw 2 cards if you need some extra draws in your deck there. Pros about the card, it allows any Toon to attack twice. So like I said, it combos nicely with your Toon monsters. It's searchable. It's got the word Toon in the name, so you can easily search with your Toon table of contents. The only thing wrong with the card is that it's a dead card in your hand. You must control a Toon to activate it. So it's not a very good top deck card. It kind of clogs up your hand a little bit. Me personally, I would only run 1. Unless you're going for like a 1-turn kill using your Toon Ancient Gear Golem. We'll talk a little bit about him later. Not necessarily the best card in the deck to run, but it helps. Like I said, it's searchable, so it's always at your disposal. A nice little spell card to get an extra attack in, do some extra damage to your opponent, as well as make use of your Toon Gemini Elf or your Toon Masked Sorcerer. You can +2 or you can -2 from your opponent. Nice little card. I would maybe run 1 or at the tops 2 in my deck at a time. But overall, not too bad. Alright, up next is Shadow Toon, another really cool card. If you control Toon World, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of that face-up monster. You can only activate 1 Shadow Toon per turn. So let's talk a little bit about the Shadow Toon. Pros: inflicts direct damage. So it's a good way to get some quick damage in on your opponent without having to have any monsters on the field or anything like that. It's no cost, doesn't cost you anything to play, so that's pretty cool. And it's searchable. You can use your Toon table of contents to get it to your hand if necessary. And overall, it's not a bad card. Like I said, inflict some direct damage for no cost, and you can easily search for it. Things I don't like about it: you must control Toon World. So if you don't have Toon World or your Toon Kingdom on the field, it is a dead card in your hand. The other thing I don't like: you can only activate 1 Shadow Toon per turn. So it loses its 1-turn kill abilities. And you can also only target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. So you can't burn them with your own monster, which I guess isn't too bad. But Shadow Toon, I would suggest maybe side decking it. I'm not running it in my main deck. I'm keeping 3 of them in my side deck for opponents that are always getting big monsters on the field. For example, if you're facing an opponent that is constantly getting major field presence with big monsters, they're constantly XZ summoning or synchro summoning monsters, this might be a good card to run because you can always let them get a big monster on the field, and then burn them with the Shadow Toon. So overall, it's a pretty good card. I'm not really main decking it, but again, it's up to you and the build that you're trying to run. So that's Shadow Toon. All right, up next is Mimicat, another one of my favorite cards that was released. Let's go ahead and read Mimicat. If you control Toon World and a Toon monster, target one card in your opponent's graveyard. If it is a monster, special summon it to your side of the field, or if it is a spell trap card, set it on your side of the field. You can only activate one Mimicat per turn. This is an awesome card, and I'm so glad that they released it. It has always been one of my favorite cards in the anime, one of Pegasus' staple cards, and the effect isn't too bad. It's actually pretty good. Things I like about it, you can take control of any card from the opponent's graveyard for virtually no cost. Any card. It could be a monster card, it could be a spell or trap card, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't cost you anything to use it, which is really cool. Things that I don't like about it. You must control Toon World and a Toon monster. It's very difficult to already have Toon World on the field to activate this card, but on top of that, you need to control both Toon World and at least one Toon monster. Not exactly the most difficult thing to do, but it's also not the easiest thing to do either, making this card's activation process a little bit situational for my taste. I main deck one only, and possibly might even be putting it in my side deck soon, so that if I know that an opponent is playing with a card that I think I can easily use to my advantage in the deck, maybe I'll go ahead and toss it in. But for the most part, right now I'm experimenting with only having one, and possibly going to side deck it soon. So yeah, so that's Mimicat. It's not searchable by Toon Table of Contents, which isn't very good. It doesn't have Toon in the name, so you won't be able to use Toon Table of Contents. The other thing, you can only use one Mimicat per turn. So, like I said, its activation process is a little situational, but overall, it's not a bad card. Take control of any opponent's card from their graveyard, which is extremely cool. That's Mimicat. Next is Comic Hand. Another card that I'm extremely excited for. This card is going to definitely have a place in my Toon Deck, or any Toon Deck for that matter, because it's so awesome. Let's go ahead and check it out. If you control Toon World equipped to an opponent's monster, take control of it. It is treated as a Toon monster. If your opponent controls no Toon monsters, it can attack your opponent directly. If Toon World is not on the field, destroy this card. So right off the bat, you can already tell that this card is going to be awesome. Let's take a look at some of the pros. Take control of any opponent's monster. Period. Doesn't cost anything. You just take control of an opponent's monster. Not only that, but that monster is treated as a Toon monster, meaning it's going to reap all of the benefits of your Toon Kingdom. The monster can attack your opponent directly if I control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters. So that makes it extremely awesome as well. Basically, any card can become a Toon card so long as you steal it from your opponent. Like I said, you're going to receive all the benefits of the Toon Kingdom, and it costs nothing to activate. The only requirement is that your opponent controls a monster and you have Toon World on the field. So some of the things that I don't like it are that you must have control of Toon World to activate and keep it on the field. If Toon World is destroyed, or if your Toon Kingdom is negated, this card will become destroyed and your opponent will get their monster back. Another thing I don't like about it is it can only attack directly if the opponent controls no Toons. In this format, I'm noticing that there's already going to be a lot of Toon versus Toon matches, which is going to be very interesting because at that point, it's basically a whoever can get Toon Kingdom on the field first is going to have the advantage kind of game. But other than that, if your opponent doesn't control any Toons, pretty awesome. The one major drawback that I don't like is Comic Hand is not searchable by your Toon Table of Contents. So you're going to have to rely on another means to get it to your hand, or you're just going to have to wait to draw it. You won't be able to search it out as easily. But overall, not too bad. Like I said, this is probably one of the best new Toon support cards that have come out. So far, I'm main decking 3 of them. And I might possibly be side decking 1 of them and just maining 2 of them, depending on the situations. But for right now, I'm keeping 3 of them in the main deck. Overall, it's such a great card. Take control of any opponent's monster, turn it into a Toon, and it just takes so much advantage of that Toon Kingdom. But yeah, so that is Comic Hand. All right, next up is Toon Mask. Here's our first trap card in the new support lineup. If you control Toon World, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Special summon one Toon monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to that target's level or rank, ignoring its summoning conditions. This card is going to be an excellent card to help speed up the deck, because Toons, I'll tell you, I've been playing Toons since the original Toon set came out, and the number one most difficult thing about the deck is that it is super slow. You're constantly having dead hands, and it's very hard to keep field presence. Toon Kingdom is going to help with the field presence a little bit, and Toon Mask is going to help speed up the deck a little bit. Because not only are you going to special summon a Toon from your hand, you can also special summon any Toon from your deck. So the only requirement is that your opponent controls a monster, and the Toon that you want to summon has to be equal to or less than the level or rank of the monster that your opponent controls. So let's take a look at some of those pros. Special summon a Toon from your hand or deck. Like I said, you can choose any Toon monster as long as its level is equal to or less than the level or rank of the monster your opponent played. You can bypass its summoning sickness. What do I mean by that? Toons cannot attack the turn that they are summoned. So if you activate Toon Mask in your opponent's end phase, you're going to get a Toon monster at your opponent's end phase. Then you draw your card, and guess what? Your Toon monster can attack now. So you have a fresh Toon that's ready to go, ready to attack, and you didn't have to wait an entire turn with your Toon monster sitting on the field if you activate this card in your opponent's end phase. So that's really awesome. Another thing is this card is searchable. It's got Toon in the name, so you can use your Toon table of contents to search for this guy. So overall, the pros of this card are pretty good. Cons: you must control Toon World. If you don't control Toon World, you won't be able to activate this card. Also, your opponent must control a monster with a level or rank 4 or higher. The reason I say 4 or higher is because there is no Toon monsters that are level 3 or lower. At least not yet. So, overall, Toon Mask, really good card. I'm main decking 3 of them. This is definitely going to speed up the deck. So, yeah, that's Toon Mask. Alright, next up is Toon Briefcase. Another trap card here. Really good trap card. When your opponent summons a monster or monsters while you control a Toon monster, shuffle that monster or monsters into the deck. Things I like about this card: returns any summoned monster or monsters to the deck with no cost. It costs nothing for you to activate this card. The only requirement is that you control a Toon monster, which is really cool. So you get a Toon monster on the field, you set this guy, your opponent pendulum summons, 5 monsters. Guess what? Activate this card, send all 5 monsters back to the deck. No cost to you. All you need is a Toon on the field. The card's also searchable. You can activate Toon Table of Contents to find this card. It's a really good back row card. The only thing I don't like about it is that you must control a Toon monster to activate it. So if for some reason you don't have a Toon on the field, or your opponent destroys your Toon and then summons a monster, you're not going to be able to use Toon Briefcase to defend yourself, because you need to have that Toon on the field. But other than that, this is an excellent card. I love it because it costs nothing to activate, so you're not minusing, which again is a huge negative in this deck. Any cards that you can activate that allow you to, at the very least, not minus are going to be a major benefit to you. It gives your opponent no advantage, and you don't lose any cards either. So overall, I'm running 3 Toon Briefcase in this deck, at least for right now. And yeah, really good card. Alright, next up is Toon Cyber Dragon. So here's our first monster. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Cannot attack the turn it is summoned. While you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack your opponent directly. Okay, it's a light monster, level 5, 2100 attack, 1600 defense. It is the same thing as your standard Cyber Dragon, except with a built-in Toon effect. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pros. Number 1, does not require Toon World on the field to be summoned. So you can summon your Toon Cyber Dragon by tribute summoning it, or you can special summon it using its effect, and you don't need to have Toon World on the field to do so. If Toon World is destroyed, this card remains on the field. So, this is the first Toon card that is not destroyed if Toon World is destroyed. So that's extremely cool as well. You can have your Toon Cyber Dragon out, your opponent destroys your Toon World, and he gets to stay on the field. So that's really cool. It can special summon itself if the opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters. So again, it's got its built-in Cyber Dragon effect. It's a good way to get some field presence, get a beat stick on the field if you're running a little bit behind. It can attack your opponent directly if you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters. So that's really cool. Also, it's searchable. It's got the word Toon in the name, so you can search it with your Toon table of contents as well as your other search cards. So, Toon Cyber Dragon is a pretty good card. Things I don't like about it. Cannot attack the turn it's summoned. So, you can... The thing I like about Cyber Dragon is when it, your opponent has a monster on the field, you have no monsters, bam, you drop your Cyber Dragon, bam, you drop another monster, and then you have a 21 beater and another monster, boom, boom, you attack real quick, and now you have field presence. The thing about Toon Cyber Dragon is your opponent has a monster on the field, you have nothing, you summon your Toon Cyber Dragon, and it can't attack. It's going to have to wait a whole nother turn before it can attack. So that's one drawback that I don't like too much about it. Another thing is it is not considered a special summon from the hand. Okay, what do I mean by that? Before Toon Cyber Dragon, all of the other Toon monsters are considered special summons from the hand, at least the ones that you need to tribute for. So, for example, Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Mongoliran, your Toon Dark Magician Girl, all of those are considered special summons, meaning you can tribute scapegoat tokens for them, or you can drop a monster and then immediately sacrifice it to special summon your Toon from your hand. With Toon Cyber Dragon, you can't do that. It's considered a normal summon from the hand. Of course, it's considered a special summon by using its summoning effect, but if you were going to tribute summon it, it is only considered a normal summon. Okay? It cannot attack directly if you do not control Toon World or your opponent controls no Toon monsters. Again, not the end of the world because every Toon is like that. And again, it requires one tribute to normal summon it from the hand. So you're going to have to tribute it to normal summon, and you're not going to be able to attack with it that turn. But otherwise, it's a pretty good card. 21 beat stick. And it's not extremely difficult to get out. It'll get you some field presence if you're falling behind a little bit. It's a good overlay monster for anyone that wants to XZ summon. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. Again, the thing I love the most about it is that if your Toon World is destroyed, your Toon Cyber Dragon will not be destroyed. So that's pretty cool. I am only main decking one, and I'll be 100% honest with you, I might even be taking it out soon because early game is not too bad. If it was a normal Cyber Dragon, it's a good second turn card because your opponent summons a monster, then they end your turn, you summon your Cyber Dragon and another card, and you have field presence. The problem with Toon Cyber Dragon, again, is you summon him, and you can't attack with him. You can't do anything with him. He's going to have to wait a whole nother turn. So it's a little slower, but overall, not a terrible card. Like I said, I'm only running one, but it's up to you. All right, last but not least is Toon Ancient Gear Golem. Let's take a look. Cannot attack the turn it is summoned. While you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack your opponent directly. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. So Toon Ancient Gear Golem is an Earth monster, level 8 machine, attack 3000, defense 3000. Overall, not a bad card. Right now I'm running one in the current build that I'm using. It's a pretty good card with a pretty good effect, but he's a little cloggy in the hand, and I'll tell you why. First, let's go ahead and talk about the pros. Number one, does not require Toon World on the field to be summoned, so that's pretty cool. Also, if Toon World is destroyed, this card remains on the field. So just like the Toon Cyber Dragon, if your Toon World is destroyed, your Toon Ancient Gear Golem is not destroyed. He can attack directly. Or, if you want to attack an opponent's defense position monster, it can inflict piercing damage, meaning it'll trample right over your opponent's defense position monster and inflict damage based on the difference between the defending monster's defense and your Toon Ancient Gear Golem's attack. So that's pretty cool. Also, when he attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. So in other words, your Ancient Gear Golem effect built right into your Toon. So they kept all the best parts of the Ancient Gear Golem, plus they kept all the best parts of the Toon monster effect, and they combined them into just one awesome card. Now, the reason I say I'm only going to run one is because he's a little cloggy. However, the other build that I'm thinking about making is the one turn kill machine build using the limiter removal. So I will be having 3 Toon Ancient Gear Golems, 3 Toon Cyber Dragons, 3 Toon Cannon Soldiers, and running limiter removal, as well as a couple of Toon Rollback cards to make for a pretty cool one-turn kill. But the other good thing about it too is if you use limiter removal, your Toons won't even be destroyed at the end of the turn if you have your Toon Kingdom out. So again, if you're not able to pull the one-turn kill off, it's still pretty lethal. It's also searchable. It's got Toon in the name, so you can use Toon Table of Contents if you need to search this guy out. Things I don't like about him is he cannot attack the turn he is summoned, just like your other Toon monsters. And he is not considered a special summon from the hand. So when you tribute summon him, he is not considered a special summon onto the field, just like the Toon Cyber Dragon that we talked about earlier. Requires 2 tributes to summon, so he's a little harder to get out. Again, like I said, he's a little cloggy in the hand. I would maybe suggest running a couple of Toon Mermaids in the deck, because those guys are special summons. So you special summon the 2 Toon Mermaids, and then you drop the Toon Ancient Gear Golem over them. And if you have a limiter removal in your hand, he's pretty lethal, like I said. But other than that, not a bad card. Really good. Really good card, deals a lot of damage, negates your opponent's spells and traps, as well as if for some reason you need to attack into a defense position monster, you're still going to get some battle damage with the piercing effect. Overall, pretty good card, and like I said, I'm only main decking 1, but it's completely up to you. So anyways, that's it with the new Toon support. I hope you guys learned something from watching this video. Again, these are just some of the immediate pros and cons that I've noticed. I'm sure there's plenty more that I've missed. If I did miss any, or if you have any suggestions or anything that you'd like to say about them, please feel free to leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and check out some of my other videos. I have a lot of really cool Magic related videos on here. And of course, I'm not talking about Magic the Gathering. I'm talking about the old sleight of hand stuff. So if you guys like Magic, please go ahead and feel free to check that out. Also, stay tuned for some more Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming soon, specifically some more Toon stuff. Like I said, I've been playing with Toons for a little while now, so I'm super stoked that this new stuff has just come out. And I'm going to do my best to do a couple more videos talking about maybe the different builds that I've done using the new Toon support, as well as some more pros and cons that I've learned from playing with the new cards. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, YouTubers, and until next time, I'll see you soon.